Well, very good morning, guys. Fine. So last day, we've just been talking about NT framework core. So we just yeah, we have just seen how to implement the NT framework. So what we have done, we've just been going for the code first approach. So in this process, the first thing what I done is on the customer class, I defined some annotations. Second step, I have gone for app settings.json, and in app settings.json, we have implemented the connection strings there. We have put up the connection string. And then we define the data context class. And coming to the data context class, I said, your data context is again going to be loosely coupled. So this data context class works with any data source. Today we are working with SQL, but tomorrow it can be Oracle or any other thing we can just use. Fourth step, go to program class, and in the program class, what you require to do? You're required to add the DB context class here, and this is a context class name. And in this process, we are telling we want to use SQL Server. As I said you, there are different methods here. Just like we have app use SQL Server, we can call options.use, Oracle, options.use, various methods are there, we can just call them. So all these methods comes into picture when you install the corresponding libraries. So we install SQL Server, we got to use SQL Server method. If you install Oracle, you will get use Oracle method. So whatever it is, that will be coming for you into action when you install it. Okay, in this process, we are telling what is the connection string. Finally, what we done in the package manager console, we just performed the migrations. We performed the migrations, and to do migrations, I said you the migration commands to you already in your NT framework classes only. Okay, so first thing is we require to just call a method called add migration. When you call add migration, when you just call the add migration, it is going to add the migration for you. Yeah, that's the first step. What do you call? Add migration. When you call add migration, it will be adding you the migration. You're required to give a name for it. What is the name I'm giving? Initial migration. So when you create a migration, do you remember that it is going to create a migration file for you? It'll add a migrations folder, and it'll add you the migration file. So if you go into this migration file, so in this, you'll be finding the create statement, drop statement, up and down methods. We already talked about them. Up method, which is going to do the creation, and down method, which is going to perform a dropping. So first, we require to add the migration. After adding the migration, the next step is to update the migration. And once you update your migration, automatically the migration will be updated to the database. So how to update? Update-database. When you call update-database, it is updated, and automatically the up method executes and will be creating you the database, tables, everything is ready. And finally, what to do? We just require to use the add singleton method, and here you're required to specify the DAL class name. Here we need to specify the DAL class name. Whatever is the DAL class name, that particular DAL class name has to be specified in this place now. So why to do that? Because right now we are targeting what? We are just targeting SQL. Earlier it was targeting what? XML. Now we are targeting SQL Server, and that should be done in the program class. Again, in the program class, here we can just mention. Yeah. Right now, what is the code here? XML DAL. So that's why it is just working with XML. Watch it. It will load you the data from XML. In XML, we have a set of Loading the data from where? From XML. It is just getting the data from XML. And now coming here, if at all I change this to SQL DAL. If I change this to SQL DAL, now you'll be getting the data from SQL Server. Now the data comes from the SQL Server. And right now there are no records in SQL Server. So let's say what comes blank. And now you can click on add customer and you can start adding a customer record. And see, we did not change the code in the controller and we did not change the code in the action views also. Controller code, action methods, views code did not change. What changed is only program class. We just set the new DAL class. So tomorrow if you want to implement for Oracle, same process. You just require to implement for Oracle and use Oracle in your code. Yeah. So click on add new customer, start entering the data. Save. Data saved to SQL Server. Yeah. Just updating the records. Is that clear? Okay, just you want to edit anything, just click on the edit button. I want to edit the value and I just wanted to change to Chennai. Click update. And you want to delete, you know that just click on the delete, it will ask you for a confirmation, click on the OK button, the record is deleted. Go to SQL and verify whether all the changes got affected in the database or not. So it's easy using dependency injection to change from one data source to another data source. Anytime if you want to ask XML, just simply one change, what you're required to do. Go to program class and just change the method over there. Okay. What's our DB? MVC code DB. MVC code DB. Select star from customers. You can see 3 records. 1 and 3 are active status and 0 is in the inactive status. And anyhow, you don't get the data here because when you're writing a select query, we just return the query to fetch only active records. Done. That's it. So this is what. So here we just been trying to understand how to use the dependency injection and implement the logics. Is everything clear? So we just implemented the logic by using dependency injection in this case. Okay, fine. Well, guys, we'll talk some few more things here. See, for our application, add scoped is the right option because we are dealing with database connections. Now, add scoped is the right option. Three methods you can call. I said you add singleton, add scoped, add transient. But what is the best choice for us? Add scoped. Okay, now run the customer controller and invoke the action methods to perform CRUD operations. And the advantage here is the same controller views can be used now also without rewriting them again. We did not rewrite the views and controller, it's the same thing. Now, migration in NT framework core. Migration is a feature which keeps the database schema in sync with our entity classes by preserving data. EF Core API builds the EF Core model from the domain classes, and EF Core migrations will create or update the database schema based on EF Core model. Actually, what we do, we go for defining the model, and once we define the model, what will happen? The EF Core API will be taking the responsibility of building all the classes, and EF Core migrations will create the database or update the database based on the domain classes. You already know this in your NT framework only. I'm not telling anything new. You need to run migrations to keep the database schema up to date. EF Core migrations are a set of commands that can be executed in NuGet package manager as well as .NET command line interface also. So actually, recollect, have you gone through it? I just said you just to go all the migration commands what I explained you in the NT framework. I just said you a set of migration commands. And where we have applied the migration commands in the package manager console. Right now, you can apply these migration commands in the package manager console also. We can apply in the .NET CLI also, command line interface also. This core has given you option to work with command line. Even you can run your project from the command line. I already showed you. .NET run will run your project. Already showed you that one. Basically, that is designed for Linux environment. Designed working with the Linux environment made on that, because in Linux, we don't properly use a GUI. In Windows and Mac, GUI is there. But coming to Linux, like proper GUI is not there. So that's why in the Linux, we mainly go for focusing on the command line interface only. Okay. So you can just see this is a list of the commands what we can use. One, PMC commands. Second one, CLI commands. PMC means the package manager console from the Visual Studio. Otherwise, you can use it from the .NET CLI also. First one, add migration name. If you want to use in the .NET CLI, how to use? Just it is add, that's all, and migration name. Here the command is add for migration, but here the command is only add. What it does, creates a migration by adding a migration snapshot. Next, remove migration. You can understand the name of it. Removes the last migration. It removes the last migration. And the other one is update database. What is the usage? Update the database schema based on the last migration snapshot. And we just have one more thing called a script migration. What it do? Generates a SQL script for using all the migrations. It will generate you the scripts, SQL scripts, extract statement, insert statement. It will generate you all the scripts for you. So these are the migration PMC commands, and these are the .NET CLI commands what we can just use. And here I am giving you the execution. First thing, adding a migration. The first one is adding a migration. At the very first time, when we define the initial domain classes, yesterday we defined the initial domain classes, right? And there is no database for our application, then we need to create our own first migration. To create the database, as well as whenever we change our domain classes, we need to create a new migration. To update the database, we need to keep on creating these migrations here. First time, next time, every time. If you are working with package manager console, how to use it? Add migration, initial migration. Last class I done it already. If you are using a .NET CLI, your folder, your drive, your personal folder, solution folder, project folder. There you are required to run .NET EF migrations add initial migration. If you want to run from the .NET CLI. Okay, next. In the above statement, initial migration is the name of the migration, which will create a migration folder with 3 files in it. It will create a migration folder, guys, with 3 files in it. What is the first file? Timestamp underscore initial migrations.cs. Second file, timestamp underscore initial migration.designer.cs. Third file, context class name model snapshot.cs. So these are the 3 things that are created for you when you're just going to create a migration. Okay, what will each file do? I'll show you. Just a second. Yeah. When you create a migration, guys, observe it. It will be creating you one file called timestamp underscore the migration name.cs. What will this contain? Up and down commands. The up and down commands will be present for you under this. Up command will create a table and down command will drop the table. Under that you'll find designer.cs file. Under that you'll find the designer.cs file. And all of you, if you remember, the designer.cs file will be containing some information like, if you see this, like it will tell you what are the column names, what is the data type. That is what exactly what is present here. The designer.cs file will contain the column names and their associated data types. All that information will be stored in the designer.cs file. Third file, what is the third file? Model snapshot file. It's a model snapshot file. So basically this model snapshot file will be actually going to, here also we have the same information. Annotations and all the information will be present here. So here also property name is customer ID, data type is integer. Something. Property name is city. Annotations is required. Max length, column name, all that information will be present in this file. Okay. So basically designer.cs and model snapshot will be containing similar data. Designer.cs and model snapshot will be containing the similar data. Okay. So basically it is just called the build model. This is going to call a build model method and it is going to perform the action. But frankly speaking, the designer.cs file and the model snapshot file will be having the similar data. Okay. And do you remember you learned in your Windows programming, designer.cs files cannot be edited by us. In Windows programming, I explained to you, designer.cs files are for Visual Studio to write the code. We cannot modify them. They cannot be modified. Okay. But when you come to snapshot.cs, we can modify. We can just make, suppose tomorrow you want to change any data type here, the data type is integer, you want to change the data type, you can change here. You can tell I want a different data type and all. But you can never edit the designer.cs files. But we can edit the snapshot files and we can tell if at all we want the length is 100, I want to make it 150. I can edit them now. That is possible. But not possible with designer.cs file. So if you see first file, timestamp underscore initial migration.cs. This file includes migration operations in the up and down methods. The up method includes code for creating database objects and down method includes code for dropping database objects. Second one, designer.cs. This is a metadata file that contains information used by EF core. Third one, model snapshot.cs. This is a snapshot of our current model which is used to determine what is changed when creating the next migration. Whenever you create a new migration, that file will be keeping on updating. That file will keep on updating. So here I feel better with 2 files in it, not 3 files here. Let's not consider the designer file at all. Let us not consider the designer file at all. I'm not taking the designer file into consideration. The reason is, as I said, your designer files cannot be modified. So ignore them. Let's not talk. And by default, the designer file will not be visible to you also. Designer files won't be visible to you when you just go deep inside, then only designer files will be visible. Otherwise, the 2 files. What will this contain? Up and down commands. What will this contain? The model information, column names, data types. Tomorrow, if we make any changes, that snapshot file will be updated. See, today we have all the property information here. Customer ID, balance sheet. Tomorrow you add a new column. You add a new column, that information gets updated here now. That information gets updated for you inside of this one. So let's talk only about the 2 files. One is the timestamp underscore initial migrations.cs and the second one is the context class name. What is the context class name? MVC code DB, correct? MVC code DB, context is your class name. Context class name. There is no underscore, nothing. MVC code DB context, model snapshot. There is no underscore, there is no separator. That's what here also I mentioned you the same thing only. So that is the context class name what we just did. Are you clear? And this is what happens whenever you add a migration. What is the next command? Update. How do you update? Update database. How do you do that? We use this command to create or update database schema based on the migrations we have created. Based on the migration, the database should be created or updated. First time create here, next time update. And how do you apply this? If you are applying in a package manager console, how do you write? Update-database. If you're using .NET CLI, how do you write? .NET EF database. See, up to here, same here. .NET EF database is common. Afterwards, update. In the previous also see, .NET EF migrations is common. Afterwards, add migration name. Here, update. This command will create the database if not existing based on the context, domain classes, and the migration snapshot, which is created using the add migration or add commands. If this is the first migration, it will also create a table with the name EF migration history. Remember this table? EF migration history table, which will store the names of all migration that are executed till now, which are applied to the database. I already explained about the migration history table for you in your entity framework only. Now also it is going to be the same thing what we just have. What next? The next step is removing a migration. The next step is going to be removing a migration. How do you remove a migration? Reason. We can remove the last migration. We can remove the last migration provided it is not applied to the database. What is that? Guys, you made some changes in the model class here. You made some changes in the model class. Suppose I wanted to add a new column here, public string state. You made some changes. Okay. After making some particular changes here, what to do? You need to create a new migration now. You need to create a new migration. A new migration should be created. How to create a migration? Again, the same story. Add migration, migration name. Again, you should call update database. Before you call update database, if at all you want to roll back remove the migration, you can call remove migration. Just like add migration, we have remove migration. But remember, you cannot call remove migration after updating the database. If the database is updated, table created, that migration cannot be deleted. Understood my point or not? So when you can remove, before updating the database, the created migration can be deleted. I don't want this migration, I can delete. So that's what. I'll show you. All these things practical, I'll show you. If at all it is a package manager console, how do you write? Remove migration. Otherwise, .NET EF migrations, remove. See, if the migration is already applied to database, then it will throw in exception and displays below error message. If the migration is applied, it will throw you a message. What is that? The migration name has already been applied to database. Revert it and try again. First you should revert it and try again. If the migration has been applied to other database, consider reverting its changes using a new migration instead. So what it is telling is, if you already updated, create a new migration. Okay, I'll show you practically. Hold on. Second one, sorry, next command. Reverting a migration. What is reverting? Rollback. Recollect, I showed you the rollback option also. Rollback. Suppose we changed our domain classes and created a second migration with the name new migration one using the add migration command and applied that migration to database using update command. Means we created a new migration and we updated it to the database. But for some reason, we want to revert the database to its previous state. I'll say revert or roll back. That will be an apt word. The database to its previous state. Then we need to use the update database migration name command to revert the database to the specified previous migration. Command, how to use update database, and here it is update. Okay. The above command will revert the database based on specified migration name, initial migration, and removes all the changes applied for second migration named new migration one. This will also remove the entry from the EF migration history table in the database, but this will not remove the migration file related to the new migration. So we need to remove command and remove them from the project. I'll tell you. Just hold on, guys. I'll show you in detail about each and everything. Yeah. What's it? Generating a SQL script. Use the command to generate a SQL script for the database. The above command will include a script to all the migrations by default, and we will specify a range of migrations also. Use the to and from options. I'll show you that. I need to show. Last one is help command. This help command, do you remember the help command? I just said you about this help command also. What is that? Array, if at all you want to get any help regarding the commands, you can just use the get-help NT framework. Specifically, you want for a command, get-help, add migration. These are the help commands what we have. So how to use them? Let's see. See now, to try the above commands, the following. Step 1. Go to your customer class, add a new property. What is the property say? Public string state get and set. Yeah, I've done it already. Public string state get and set. Now, is this column added to the table? Come on. No. So what we need to do? We need to create a new migration. We need to create a new migration. How to create a migration? Add -migration name. Whatever name you wanted to give it. Okay. So come on, watch. Open the package manager console. Add -migration. A name for it. So I'll give the name as update 1. The first update I'm making. Update 1. So already we had initial. Now it is update 1. Click on the enter. This will first build the project and it creates you a migration file. Watch. Up and down commands will be there. Go and see the up command. Up command is to add a column. Down command is to drop a column. See? Drop column. Okay. Now also go to snapshot file. If you go to snapshot file, the snapshot file is also updated. See? That only said your snapshot file will update all the things. Okay, now fine. The snapshot file will show update you and shows you. What next? We have just been added a thing. Next one is we need to update the database. We need to update the database. I'll do it. Wait, I'm not still updating the database. Again, I'll go to customer class. One more property let me add. What is that? Country. One more property. For this, what I'm doing, I'll open the package manager console and I'll add one more migration. I will add you one more migration. How many migrations are added? 2. But we still did not apply this. Again, if you go there, here you have an up command adding the country, down command dropping the country. And if you go to snapshot, the snapshot should also contain the country information inside of it. Is that clear? Like this, guys, we can just create the things. Now, if I say update, how many migrations will be applied? Both the migrations. If I say update, how many migrations will apply? Both migrations will apply and the table will be added with the columns. The table will be added with the columns. Both migrations will apply. But I don't want to apply the country migration. I want to apply update 1, but I don't want to apply update 2. If that is the case, you need to call remove migration. What do you need to call? Remove migration is what you require to call. Is it clearer or not? So remove migration. What will it remove? The last migration. What is the last migration? Update 1, update 2. Louder. Update 2. So update 2 is removed off. Watch. What is the command? Remove -migration. Remove -migration. And you see build started, build succeeded. and see it has removed you the migration. Which one? Update 2 migration is removed off. If you come here and watch there. Update 2 is not there. Earlier we have update 1, update 2 also. But now update 2 is not there. Sir, if the property deleted, property won't be deleted here. Property won't be deleted. That is your job. You only should remove the property in that. It only deals with the files, migration files, that's all. And now in the snapshot, we should not find the country. Check. State is there. Country is not there. Got that? Okay. So are you clear with the add, update and remove now? So that's what the remove is. Next. See, the above action will remove the last migration file. That is update 2. And this action also will update the snapshot file. Snapshot file will be updated. Now, let us apply update 1 now. Let us apply update 1. How to apply update 1? Simply call update hyphen database. If I call update hyphen database, what will happen? Update 1 will be applied because update 2 is removed. Update 1 will be applied. So you see update database. Yeah, it got updated. It will show you all the commands to you, but just still execute. State. Are you clear? The state came into action. The state came into action. Now let's create one more migration, guys. Let us create one more migration. Sir, any changes? Yeah, we have already a change, guys. We already have a change. The change is not still removed now. Country. So let's create a new migration. New migration will deal with country. Add migration, update 2. Update 2 is created. Do one more change and create one more migration. Do one more change and make one more migration. Public string continent get set. Okay. So let's create another migration. Update 3. Now tell me total how many number of migrations we have till now? 4. How many are applied? 2. Initial migration, update 1. Total 4 na. Initial migration applied. 2 and 3 are applied or not applied? We created a migration, but they are not applied. Okay, hold on. Now come here and look into the migration history table once. Select star from EF migration history. Check out. What is applied? Initial migration is applied, update 1 applied, update 1 is applied. Now see, there are 2 more migrations pending now. Correct? If you want to remove the migration, call remove migration. No, I want to update them. What you do? Call update database. When you call update database, remember here 2 migrations are applied at a time now. 2 migrations are applied at a time. What are the 2? Update 2, update 3. If you want, come and see. Are you clear? I created one update for state. I created one update for country. I created one update for continent. So update 1, update 2, update 3. Now at a time, 2 migrations got applied here. Is that clearer, everyone? That is what we call an update. Okay, what next? So once we call update, all are updated for you. We can see this in the migration file. We can see this in the migration file. Now see, all the migrations are applied or not? Is there any pending migration? No, all are applied. So now if I try to call remove hyphen migration, I'll get error now. Earlier already I shown you remove migration. What you can remove? A migration which is not applied on the database can be removed, but you applied all the migrations now. Because all are applied, if you say remove migration, error will come. The migration has already been applied to the database. Revert it and try again. Revert means roll back and then you can try. If the migration has been applied to other databases, consider reverting its changes using a new migration. You required to create a new migration. What is that creating a new migration? Delete all the columns here, create a new migration now and update it. Otherwise, revert it. What is reverting? Reverting in the sense, look, I made some changes and you can see all these things. Finally, after doing all the things, my manager came and said that, no, don't apply these changes now. Client has postponed the requirement and this is going to be future. So right now, just want the table back with the 5 columns. Want the table back with its original 5 columns. I don't want the remaining 3 columns. Client has postponed the requirement. Client said, I made it. But now client said, I'm postponing, not now. Let's go after 6 months. Now what to do? I need to revert back. Revert back to what? Initial migration. I need to revert back to initial migration. Our client said, I want only state column, remaining 2 are not required. Revert to update 1. I want state and country. Revert to update 2. You can revert it to any place you want. How you can revert? Simple. Watch. Revert command is no, not remove. What is the revert command? Revert command is update database only. Just a minute. Yeah, update database. The revert command, how do you revert is update database only. We already learned update database now. If update database is specified with a migration name, it will revert to that. Say I'm specifying this to update 3. Means what will happen? Update 3 only is the latest. You can't revert back to update 3 now. Better let us see update 2. Update 2. Sorry, the name is not right. I want to revert to this. Means what? Continent column should be deleted, right? So let me copy this here and specify the name. Update database, your migration name. Hit enter and observe, guys. And see, continent is deleted. Are you clear? If I directly say initial migration, what will happen? These 2 updates will be deleted off. These 2 updates will be deleted off, and the city column, not city, state column, country column also should be deleted off. Update database. I'm going to initial migration here. I'm going to initial migration. I went to the initial migration now. Go to database and see. And come here. Now, allow doubt. Sir, are the migration files deleted? No, migration files are not deleted. Check it out. Sir, these are not deleted. Array, in the future, after 6 months, when the client says, I want the updates, I can directly run the file now. Let them be present. No, if it is confusing, remove migration. If you feel confusing, use remove migration. No, let it be. In the future, I can update all these things because client postponed the changes to 6 months. So after 6 months, I want again without creating all the things, I can use them. Or otherwise, if it is feeling confusion for you now, what you will do? Remove migration. What is removed? Last one only remove, not all the 3. Then what about 3? You require to apply 3 times. You require to apply 3 times. Say remove migration. Not remove. Oh, remove hyphen migration. I said remove underscore migration. That's why I got error. Remove all the migration. Watch. What is removed? 3 is removed. Same way. Apply one more time. 2 is removed. 2 is removed. What we have is only 1. Remove migration. Understood all of you? So that is how you you're going to remove all the migrations. So this is reverting a migration. And see, generating a script. What is the generating a script? When you just say script hyphen migration, it is going to create a script file for you. In the sense, just watch. Script, or the command, script hyphen migration. For the last migration, it will generate your script. A creative script. What is the use of it? Guys, tomorrow, you're working with NT framework code first, fine. Forget about code first. Suppose you're working with a DB first, or you're working with ADO.NET, or you're working with LinkU. What you do, first time, you created one database on your, see, your application is in development stage. You created one database here. After creating one database, all the tables, everything is created. Now you're hosting this application. First time what you'll do, you can take this database as it is to client. Tomorrow changes and enhancements are there. New tables are created, new columns are added. Will you again take the database to client? You cannot do that now. You're required to go for writing script. If any new table is created, you're required to write the create table statement and execute it. If you alter any columns, you're required to use the alter table statement and execute it. We call them as scripts. We call them as scripts. So basically it is just giving a script file for you like this. And this script file will be doing it. All SQL commands only will be there. Nothing will be there here. What is it? First table, migrations table. Second table, customers table. And see, initial migration, one record is inserted. Commit. So on the, it is just going to go for begin a transaction and then commit the transaction. It will create the table, insert the record, and the transaction is going to be committed for you in this process. Is that clear? So this is called as a script file. The script file is going to be generated for you in the project, if at all you call. This tomorrow, if you want to manually create these tables there, if you want to manually create the table, then we go for script. The script file will generate. You can copy the script file, take it to the target location, open the open your management query window, paste it there, execute it. Northwind database I given you, remember? Script file only given you. Northwind database, how did you get it? When you double click on the Northwind, the script file loaded, you executed, it created database tables. That's called as script files. So those script files are going to be generated. It's all about the migrations. How do you apply? Are you clear? Yes or not? Okay. Fine. So every command I given you with examples. Just read them carefully and execute them. Rollbacking and all these things. Fine. The next thing is, guys, seed data. Remember seed data? First some tables require some initial information. If the tables require some initial information, we require to go for seeding the data. Some default data should be in the tables, and then we go for using the seed data method. Then we go for using the seed data. Then we have DEPT table, EMP table, we call it seed data. Department table has 4 records in it. All those things are shown you. The same way we can do here also. How to do data seeding? There is a process of populating database tables with some initial data, and to do that we need to override on model creating. Remember this method? On model creating method in our data context class. And to test that process, write the below code in that. So what is the method? On model creating. You already done about this. We already learned about this in your NT framework already. Go to here. We'll find a method called override. The method should be overridden. What is it? On model creating. And the default data you want in the tables should be present here. Are you clear? For the time being, I'll do one thing. What I'll do is, let me come to SQL. We have some records here now. Just a minute. I'll say truncate table customers. What will happen? We'll delete you all the data. We'll delete you all the data. Tables are empty now. No records. When the database is created for the first time, and the tables, I want the initial data to be loaded. If you want the initial data to be loaded, what you'll do? Override this method. Which method? On model creating. And inside of this method, write this code. What? Model builder dot entity. Which entity has a data? What is the data? You see, creating new records. I'm inserting 4 records here. 101, 102, 103, 104. These are all the initial data. Are you clear? And if I want this to be executed now, what I should do? Migration. I should create a migration again. I need to create a migration again. Add migration. I'll call this migration name as seed data. Any name here? Let me see what name I used here. Yeah, seed data only I used. Add migration, seed data. Any name you like here, seed data. Whenever you change, it is compulsory, you require to go for add migration. Just a minute. The mistake is in a customer, we forgot to delete all these things. All these things we don't want now, we roll back all these things. Just we have updated, no, forgot to delete them. Seed data. Every change requires a migration to be created. Watch it. Seed data migration. Is it applied? Is it applied? No, it is only created, not applied. Go to database and see. Apply it. How to? Update database. Update database. Initial data. Say for all you want to perform data seeding, this is the mechanism. Okay. So, fine. So this is all how you go for performing a data seed here. So step 1, if at all you want to perform seeding, what is step 1? Just go over there and go for, sorry, you're required to override this method. Which method? On model creating. Once the on model creating method was defined, a new snapshot is going to be created. A new snapshot, on model creating method you need to override, and then you need to go for creating a update. A new migration should be created. After creating a new migration, step 3 is update. All the initial data will be inserted into your tables. The initial data comes now and sits in your tables. So this is about the seed data. Guys, everything will be similar here. Maybe some command may be different, that's all. But the concepts are same. Okay, fine. Next, today, let's discuss about a different concept here. What's it is? Handling errors in ASP.NET Core MVC application. These days we are using Web API, so with Web API we don't EF, right? Why you don't read? How Web API and NT framework are not related? Same here. In Web API also, if you are using NT framework, same only. In Web API, are you not using database? Huh? If you are using database, that should be same. And why are you using Web API? You're using Web API only for background services, not for front end. For front end, again, you require an MVC or something. You're wrong, Santosh. Yeah. What is the discussion? Handling errors in ASP.NET Core MVC application. Error handling, guys. I'm teaching you the concept of error handling. How do you handle errors in the ASP.NET Core web applications? Okay. In web applications, we generally come across two different types of errors. In web applications, we come across two different types of errors. What are the two different types of errors? One is the client errors and the second one is the server errors. What is the first one? Client errors. Second one, server errors. Sir, what are client errors? What are server errors? Remember status codes? We already talked about it. 5 different types of status code. 100 is 1XX is information. 2XX, success. 3XX, redirections. 4XX, client errors. 5XX, server errors. Client errors means case not found, unauthorized, payment required. Server errors means exceptions. Server errors means exceptions. So understand, in web applications, we generally come across two different types of errors. First one, status code based errors, 4XX series, that is client errors. Next, exceptions, 5XX series, these are server errors. Are you clear? These are the two types. So first, let us start from handling client errors. How do we handle the client errors? See, these errors occur if at all the request contains bad syntax or cannot be fulfilled. Bad syntax or cannot be fulfilled. This category of status codes is intended for situations in which the error seems to have been caused by client. For example, if we try to send a request for a page which is not existing, then it is 404 not found error. To handle these errors, MVC Core provides 3 middleware components for us. There are 3 different middlewares like MVC Core has been given for us to handle the client errors. I repeat, to handle the client errors, MVC has given you 3 different options to you. What is the first one? Use status code pages. Second one, use status code pages with redirects. Third one, use status code pages with re-execute. These are the 3 different middlewares MVC Core has given us for handling client-side errors. So I repeat, if at all you want to handle the client-side errors, these are the 3 options what are available. Okay. To test this, first change the ASP.NET Core environment setting to production in launch settings.json under IS Express and Castle Web Server profile, because by default it is development. Change to production, guys. Change them. What to do? Go to concentrate. Go to launch settings.json file. We are running an IS Express, so change here. Change here. If you're working on Kestrel, change here. Are you clear? Right now I'm in IS Express, that's why change here. That's why I mentioned IS Express or Kestrel profiles. Okay, change them. Another change of both without confusion. Change of both. Now, run the code. Run this, guys. We are running under IS Express. Okay, run this. Now, when you run this, I'm trying to call a method called as get customers. What is that? Get customers. The method is not there. The method is not there, right? The method is not there. The method is not existing at all. Is it clearer? I think we changed in Kestrel. Really? I changed in Kestrel. Huh? Oh, yeah. That's a better change of in both. No confusions. Yeah, I changed in Kestrel. But change of in both the two things. I want to call a method called get customers. Not there. So I'm just going to get this page. This page cannot be found. Page not found, guys. Page not found. These are generally browser shows this particular information. Who shows? Browser. My application is not doing anything here. Browser is going to show you this one. Okay? But listen. We have 3 middleware components that are available. And if at all you have these 3 middleware components, you can just use these middleware components and go for describing your errors in detail. You can go for describing your errors in detail. You can describe your errors in detail basically. How do you do that? How do you do that is just all of you watch it. If you open your program.cs file, what is mentioned here? If not, app.environment. Is a development. If it is not a development environment, what is the meaning? If it is not a development environment, okay, what is it telling you? App.use exception handler, app.use HTTPS. Right now, listen to me. Right now, there is no code available here for handling client errors. The code is available only to handle the server errors. What is it? If there is a server error, it will take you to home controller error. It will take you to home controller error. When? If there is a server error. But there is nothing to handle the client errors. And to handle the client errors, just now I said you 3 middlewares are there. First one, use status code pages. Guys, observe. Come to program.cs. Look at here. This is to handle server error, not the client error. Now I want to handle the client error. How to write app dot use status code pages. Look at this. App dot use status code pages. And see the difference now. Now this middleware will deal with client errors. This is going to deal with the client errors. What happens? Run and see. Without showing something, some screen came now. Without showing that, what is the method we tried? Get customers. It will show you a simple message like this. What is that? Status code is 404, not found. Everyone, 400, bad request. 401 was something. 402, whatever it is, it will show you. This is a middleware. Do you remember when I did not call the middleware what I got and now what I got? Understood? Now, did you understand why I changed it to production? Because the code is present like this here. If it is not development, do this. In production only it will do. That's why I changed the environment to production environment and shown you. That's all. Okay? So are you clear with the first middleware? This is a simple message what it shows you. Status code and this. If I don't call this, if I don't call this middleware, if I don't call this middleware, run once. Call get customers. This is what I get. Generally, when you don't, in the real time, every time you will see these type of messages only. But I want to hide this. I want to make it a little bit descriptive. So I'm just calling app dot status code pages. When you run this, automatically it will show you array, something, some wrong page. You can see status code 4/4, not 4. This is what it shows you. First method. What is the first method? App.use status codes. What are you doing? Handling client errors. And remember guys, this one handles server errors. This one handles client errors. Are you clearer? So this is to handle the client errors and this is to handle the server errors. Okay, we still did not come to server errors. Ignore it. I'll tell you. Let me complete client, then I'll go to server. Okay. Second method. What is the second method? 3 methods are there. First method, status code pages. Second method is, the second method what we have is, use status code pages with redirects. What is that? If I call that method, if I call that particular method, use status code pages with redirects, here I can tell a route pattern, a redirect to some other page. I can use a route pattern to redirect to some other page. Some page means if a client error comes, I want to display a detailed error message about that. Are you clearer or not? If a client error comes, I want to display a detailed error message for that one. Got my point? So this is my requirement. So I can design one page now and I can redirect you to that page. I can design one page now and I can redirect you to that page. So that can be done here. How do you do that? We do that by just go for creating a new page. But if at all you create a new page, you need a controller to launch the page now. Right? Without a controller, no view will launch for us now. So you need a controller to launch this one now. Okay? I'll do one thing. I'll add a new controller in the project. What is the controller name, you know? Error controller. Already we have 2 controllers here. Home controller. I did not create the home controller. MVC project created a home controller. I created customer controller. Let's add a new controller. Add a controller. What is the name? Error controller. Some name. Error controller is the name. Error controller. Now in this, I want to write a method. What is the method? Handle client error. Any name here. Some action method. What is the method I given? Client error handler. I named this as client error handler. So this is the index here. I want to change this. What is that? Client error handler. Understood? For this method, I want to receive a status code. Understand carefully. I want to receive a status code. I just want to receive the status code. 400, 401, 402, 403, whatever it is, I want to receive that information. So to do that, I'm just going to say int status code. The int status code will be a parameter for this particular method. How will it come? I'll tell you. Now inside of it, I want to write this now. What's it? If status code is 400, what error message you want to show? If status code is 401, what error message you want to show? It is 402, what error message you want to show? I want to write all the things in this code now. Did you catch my point? So I'm using a switch case statement. Carefully watch. For every status code, there's a different error message to be shown now. Watch. See the code now. Switch status code. First one, 400. It is 400. What should be the title? What should be error message? 41. Unauthorized is or authorization required. Returned by server when the target resource lacks authentication credentials. See, for everything, I am just going to take an error title and the error message. Where error title is stored in the viewbag. I'm storing them in a viewbag here. You remember viewbag now? I'm just using viewbag. Okay. When do we use this viewbags and all? When you want to transfer the data from one page to another page. Actually, what I'm going to do, when I just do this, actually, I want to return this code to a view. What is the view now? Means all messages will be shown in this view now. One view only. I did not create separate views for each. One view. In that view, these messages has to be published. In that view, these messages have to be published. If I get 404, this message will go to client error view and should be published. So what to do now? Create this view now. What is the view name? Client error view. Are you clear? Come on. Right click, add view, empty. Client error view. And in the client error view, design this page to display the title and the message. The title, how the title and message will come? Title and message will come here in the view bag. The view bag data should be displayed here. So the same view will show all error messages. What error you get, that will come here. Okay? And you know scope of view bag. Once comes, deleted. Second time, another message will come based on the type of error you have. So this is simple design here. It's a very simple design. Nothing code there. See? That's it. What I'm doing, class, danger, error title, style I'm using for this one, error message. Understood? Huh? So this is what I'm just doing up in this particular page. This is what I'm doing up in this particular page. Okay. So that is error view .cshtml. I'm going to do this. So this is what. Now we'll have a doubt here. What is the doubt? The doubt is, sir, everything is fine, but how the status code will come here? When will it redirect here? When is it going to redirect here? Okay, watch it. Now you're required to use the middleware. Now you're required to use the middleware. Just come to program class, and here it is expecting a parameter. Expecting a parameter. All of you, watch it. Slash client error slash, here I can pass a placeholder like a 0, and what will come here, status code will come automatically. How are you passing? I don't require. This method has that capability automatically. Now your other question will be, sir, what is this client error? What is this client error? This client error is going to be an attribute routing I'm going to use now. Attribute routing. You know attribute routing, huh? On the top of the action method, you can give your route pattern. What we call? Attribute routing. So the attribute routing, I want to define a route. What is the route name? And client error. So come to error controller and see now on the top of this method, use the attribute routing and specify your route pattern. Specify your route pattern here. How? Route. What is the route method? What is the method? What is the name you have used? Louder. Client error, right? Slash. The placeholder 0 I use it now. That is dynamically identified by MVC and will send. I don't require to do anything there. That will dynamically identify and send me that one. So, what is the route pattern? Client error. Further, there's a parameter. What is the parameter? Status code. And this was listed in the program class. So, whenever the client error comes, it will redirect to client error and passes the status code. Passes the status code. Okay. Do one thing. Come to, what is it? Error controller. Place a breakpoint here. Let us see when will this hit. Okay. Slash, I'm giving a wrong page name. I'm giving a wrong page name. Watch, it came here. It came here automatically now. Okay, and see, status code is 404. Now, switch case is what we used here. Come on, let's jump to 404. Not found. Error page. Now it is jumping to the view. Which view? Client error view. Client error view has to show you that page now. What is that? Client error page. What is that? Not found, showing you. If you got any other, same thing. Client error page hyphen error name, and it is going to show you the information for you there. Are you clear? And I don't require. See, I configure the middleware. And when I configure my middleware, here I can tell my route pattern here. So where you want it to go. So I can say attribute routing. Someone asked this question, sir, can I use both routings at a time? Yeah. See now, I'm using an attribute routing also. Conventional routing was for the rest of the pages. For this page, I used attribute routing. So this is an attribute routing. So I said, whenever there is an error, go to, and this 0 is the status code. And the beauty here is, I don't require to write any logic to bring that status code. That is the duty of MVC. MVC will bring the status code, and that status code will directly go to status code, which is taken as a parameter, and based on the parameter, my logic gets executed here. Is that clearer, all of you? So this is the second way how you can handle the error. What is that? Status code with redirects. Status code with redirects. One more thing is there, status code with re-execute. I'll show you in the next class how to use it. Yeah, it works with areas also. It works with areas also. No props. We'll continue tomorrow. టెక్నికలే అంటే యాక్చువల్గా చెప్పాను కదా వేరే టెక్నాలజీ అని, అదేంటది సైట్